Hello everyone, it's Elliot here. I hope life is treating you very well today. In this video, I want to talk about the brand new Criterion Collection announcements for May 2022. And boy, we have some very good ones here indeed, so I'm very excited to get into all of the news. I have the Criterion website up in front of me on my iPad, so I'm going to go through each of the 5 releases and just give you some of my quick thoughts. Usually I would do this in chronological order of release date, but I've decided I'm going to do it in reverse order because the big one is coming last, so I'm going to talk about that first. As I'm going to be talking about these announcements in this video, do leave a comment down below letting me know which one of these you are most excited for and which one you would most recommend to someone else, because I always like hearing what is someone's favourites out of these Criterion announcements. So if you haven't heard the news, Double Indemnity is coming to the Criterion Collection. This is absolutely huge, and I honestly thought this is a film that probably would never come into the collection. I feel like other studios wouldn't give these rights out to other people to release this film because I think it sells very well indeed, so this was a total surprise. In case you're unfamiliar, Double Indemnity is perhaps the textbook film noir. It really is the greatest of that filmmaking style or genre, whatever you want to call it. And I think it's just great. I always say this. I know people tell me I say this too much. It really is one of my favourite films though. It really, really is. Like probably top 25. The screenplay is so tight with poisonous dialogue. The performances from Barbara Stanwyck and Fred McMurray are exemplary. And then, of course, the direction from Billy Wilder is just completely on point, and it looks amazing as well. It has that German expressionism blended with American sensibilities going on in it. I'm getting way ahead of myself here because I didn't even mention that this is going to be a 4K Blu-ray release. So not just Blu-ray, this is 4K. So it's even more exciting to be getting this, entering the Criterion Collection. I just can't wait. Like all of the other 4K discs from Criterion, none of the special features will be on the 4K disc. That will just be the movie itself. But the special features that we do have on the Blu-ray include an audio commentary, there's an interview with a film scholar about Billy Wilder, there's a conversation between film historians Eddie Muller and Imogen Sarah Smith, there's a 1992 film by Volker Schlondorf and Gisela Grischow featuring interviews with Billy Wilder himself. There's a 2006 documentary on the making of Double Indemnity, audio excerpts from some interviews with the cinematographer, and radio adaptations as well. So there's an awful lot on here, which really does make it a packed release. So hopefully it looks and sounds the part, because it says it's coming from a new 4K digital restoration. And if it is as good as it sounds like it's going to be, I will be retiring my Masters of Cinema Blu-ray of Double Indemnity from what must be 10 years ago at this point, so well overdue. So the last thing that I'll say about Double Indemnity entering the Criterion Collection is it's not just one of the greatest film noirs of all time, it is one of the greatest films, period, of all time. So definitely put this on your radar. I'm sure it's going to sell so much during the Criterion sale in July, so I can't wait. Next up, also releasing on May 31st, 2022, is the film Chan is Missing. This one is spy number 1124. This is a film I haven't seen, but I have had it on my radar for some time. It's just been very difficult to see here in England. It hasn't had a Blu-ray release. I don't even know if it's had a DVD release. And as far as I've known, it's not been on any streaming platform over here. So I just haven't been able to see this as of yet. But that's going to change very soon. All that I have heard about it is that it's a very important film for independent filmmaking and, more importantly, Asian American independent filmmaking. It says here on the Criterion site that it was one of the first Asian American made films that got a wide release. So historically, very important. And from checking out all of the reviews on Letterboxd, it sounds like a great film. So again, this is one that I can't wait for. This is just a Blu-ray. It's not a 4K Blu-ray. I've just spotted it's only 75 minutes long, and I love a film that runs under an hour and a half. So that is definitely a plus in my books. Looking at the special features, there's a making of documentary called Is Chan Still Missing? There are also new conversations between Wang and critic Hua Su, and Wang and filmmaker Ang Lee. That has me very excited. And then a conversation between Wang and film programmer Dennis Lim. And then there's a trailer and an essay as well. So overall, sounds like a great release, and this is a film I've wanted to see for some time. Also releasing in May on the 24th, spy number 1127 is the film Mississippi Masala. This is from filmmaker Mira Nair, and she does already feature in the Criterion Collection, but I would love to see some more films of hers be entered into the collection, and this is a great step towards that. This is a very interesting film indeed, because it looks at the clashing of different cultures in an area, the bringing together of the Indian community and the African American community, and it's told with great passion, authenticity, and it's just great. This is a great addition to the collection. On a side note, this film stars Denzel Washington, and I'm trying to think, is this the first time he's in the collection? I'll probably find out as I'm editing this, but I think it might be, so that is an interesting thing. Moving on to the disc itself, this is sourced from a new 4K digital restoration supervised by Mira Nair and director of photography Ed Lachman. There's a brand new audio commentary featuring Nair, new conversation between actor Sarita Chowdhury and film critic Devika Girish, new interviews with Lachman, screenwriter Suni Tarapuravela, and production designer and photographer Mitch Epstein. And then there is an essay in the booklet as well. So some great special features. I can't wait to delve into them. And as I said before, more Mira Nair in the collection is a great thing. So hopefully we get more of that in the future. Coming on May 17th, 2022, this is spy number 1125. It is the film The Funeral, directed by Juzo Itami. Again, unfortunately, this is a film I have not yet seen, but with this disc, it is going to be changing. I have had this film on my radar, on my watch list, ever since years ago I discovered for the first time the film Tampopo, also from Itami, and that was through the Criterion Collection. It was a complete blind buy at the time. I'd never even heard of it. It was just on sale. I picked it up, and it very quickly became one of my all-time favourite Criterion purchases. Like, that's the beauty of the collection sometimes, is just from the packaging you can pick something up, give it a try, and it can end up becoming one of your favourite films and one of the best film watching experiences you might have. This one is also just a Blu-ray disc, and it will be available on DVD. I've noticed actually some of these new releases are not being released on DVD anymore, so it does seem like Criterion are starting to phase out DVD, and that probably makes sense because they don't want to have 3 different formats on the go at once. I think 4K and Blu-ray will be enough for them in the future, so it's unfortunate for anyone who is still clinging on to watching films on DVD, but they will be available on Blu-ray. As for the disc itself, it's cited as a high definition restoration, so no 2K, no 4K, just a 1080p restoration, but those can still look very good. There are new interviews with actors Nobuko Miyamoto and Manpei Ikuchi, creative marriages, Juzo Itami and Nobuko Miyamoto, a short program produced by the Criterion Channel, and there's commercials for Ichiroku Tart by director Juzo Itami, and then some trailers and an essay in the booklet. So all around, some pretty interesting special features there. A release I can't wait to get my hands on. So yeah, that's The Funeral. It has me excited. And the last one to talk about today, to complete a pretty stacked month for Criterion. This has probably been one of my favourite months of announcements in a long time. The film is Mr. Klein. This is directed by Joseph Losey, starring Alain Delon. I recently talked about Joseph Losey on this channel when I reviewed The Servant, which came out on a 4K Blu-ray here in the UK. That film is one of my favourite films of all time, and he has so many great films in his filmography. This film can be a bit of a heavy one. It's dealing with difficult subject matter, and there was some controversy about the film's release. And the film, in some ways, kind of mirrors what Joseph Losey had to go through when he left America and came to Europe to make films. So it's a very interesting entry in his filmography, and I can't wait to revisit it on this disc. The film is spy number 1123. It's from a new 4K digital restoration. Now, I believe this is going to be the same one that was released on a Studio Canal Blu-ray here in the UK. I think there were some issues with that disc in terms of the colour timing, the colour grading of that disc. There's been a whole lot of controversy about colour grading in the last few years. A lot of people have criticised these new colour grades on restorations because they add this teal, green, blue colour filter over a whole film, and many people say that they're not authentic to how the film was originally screened, and for many people it's not how the film is remembered. It's an issue, and it will be interesting to see if this follows suit with the Studio Canal release. I think it will, because it's unlikely that this is, I know it says new 4K restoration, but I don't think Criterion will have done this themselves. Anyway, the special features, there's a bunch of interviews. There is Story of a Day, which is a documentary about the real-life history of the story shown in Mr. Klein. And then there is an essay in the booklet. This one is just Blu-ray, so no DVD, no 4K, just Blu-ray. But as I said before, I hope this gets more people watching the films of Joseph Losey, and it would not surprise me at all if we do see The Servant getting a Criterion release soon, because that film hasn't even been released on Blu-ray in North America at all, whereas we had an older Blu-ray years and years ago, and now we have this new 4K disc. So yeah, it seems like Criterion will be releasing that, but who knows at this point. So there we have it. 5 great sounding releases for May 2022. There's a lot to be excited for in this month, but in particular that double Indemnity 4K release. And as I mentioned, I'm sure when the July Barnes & Noble sale rolls around, many of these discs will be being picked up for half price. Myself included, I'm going to be buying probably all of these. So that will be a fun time. I'm actually planning to be in the US during July, so I will be able to physically visit Barnes & Noble and pick out some of these. So I look forward to that if it all goes to plan. Who knows these days? But yeah, fingers crossed. With all of that said, I will bid you farewell. Please do subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video for more future videos on the Criterion Collection. Until that time, stay well and keep watching great films.